Are you thinking of taking a part-time internship while juggling with your studies? I've done it through my whole university life, and this is how I did it. I've done part-time internships in 4 out of 6 of the semesters that I was in. And those internships are done with different companies, with very different structures, as well as job description. And so this video will be broken down into a few parts. So firstly, it'll be on what are the companies I've done a part-time internship with, and also what is my role in that company. Second will be how did I manage my time with my studies, as well as juggling with the internship at the same time. And third part will be what are some of the challenges that I face, and how did I overcome them during that period of time. So going deep down into the content for today, the first part will be what companies have I done a part-time internship with, and they are Date Ideas, Just Tapao, as well as SAP. So here's a quick 10-second pitch of what each company does to provide you with a better understanding of what is required and what I've done in those companies. So for Date Ideas is basically a platform that provides couples with literally date ideas that they can partake in, and they have an app which you can book all of your activities on, which makes things easier for people to plan their dates. Just Tapao is a social enterprise that aims to reduce food waste in Singapore by redistributing unsold surplus food by connecting last-minute consumers and eateries together. Eateries sell their surplus food at a 50 to 70% discount, and consumers discover new food at ultra-low prices, which is a win-win situation for all. The SAP is a German software MNC that develops and integrates applications to connect all parts of a business into an intelligent suite of a fully digital platform, and they cater to a wide array of industries from public services to energy to financial services as well as utilities. So these are some of the companies that I've done a part-time internship with so far, and it has been a rollercoaster ride juggling the work that I have alongside with my studies. And since now you have a better understanding of what each company does, here's a more in-depth detail into what I've done in those companies. So while I was doing my part-time internship, I was mainly doing business development related roles where basically I reach out, I prospect, I find new leads for the company, and the nature was more of a B2B kind of work, sourcing for partnership with different companies. In Date Ideas, I was doing research related stuff on what are some of the potential companies that would partner up with us, especially if they have some form of interesting activities that couples can take part in. And subsequently, it will be to strategize a way to approach them and try to secure a deal with them from there. For Just Tapao and SAP is fairly similar in terms of the nature of the work is almost the same, just that the industry is so different, and the nature of the products and services that's up to offer is very different across the 3 different companies. So that makes the approach, the script to be used for prospecting a little bit different from each other. So this is just a very brief and summarized view on what I've done so far, and there are definitely a lot of challenges that I faced at work for sure. So the second part will be on how did I manage my time with my studies as well as work at the same time. So one very important thing that I must say up front is that everyone only has 24 hours, and what we do with it is what we get at the end of the day. And I personally think that everyone would prioritize one thing over another subconsciously, no matter what. And the question here would be, which did I prioritize more of back then? I think a quick and short answer would be I prioritized my studies over my internships back then. And I'm not saying that I neglected my work because of that, but I would say personally, my studies were still of priority at that point in time. And how I was able to juggle everything from work to studies was because I kept my KPIs very clear in terms of what I need to achieve, and once I reach that, then okay, I get a stop from there and I focus on what is the other part that I need to focus on, which if I finish what I need to do for my studies, then I'll focus on my work. Sort of the cycle repeats from there. And what I did was to put some of the business analytics knowledge that I have into good use. I automated some of the business processes that are in place, and it generated some decent results from there. So overall, I get to spend less of my time doing work, but I'm still able to hit my KPIs or even exceed them. One thing that I was very fortunate to have experienced was that the nature of work was a lot more flexible because it was a business development kind of role. So I didn't have to report to office at any stipulated timings. Basically, I was measured based on my results instead of the time that I input into working. And one thing that I did was to discuss through some of the expectations that my managers would have, and that would really scope how I approach my work. What are some of the definitions of success? And this is quite critical because with these guiding definitions and goals in mind, it will really help to better scope the results at the end of the day. And it will also help if I'm thinking about how can I boost my resume up for my next role that I'm going after. Okay, so third part will be what are some of the challenges that I faced and how did I overcome them during my internship. So some of the challenges in sequential order would be, firstly, coming up with a plan that allows me to meet the requirements that I need to for my internship as well as studies, and that can be resolved by mapping out a very clear timetable with buffers included to accommodate and adjust to see if the timing fits my schedule or not, and what are some of the things that I can potentially shift around to better match my timing, and also to factor in sufficient time for travel also, and also to factor in sufficient time for revision. And the second challenge would be what happens when I have overdue work which needs to be done but I have an upcoming test. So how will I then manage it? In this case, it depends on which is more pressing. So if my internship work is not as urgent as the test, for example if it's tomorrow, then definitely I'll discuss it with my manager and let him or her know that I have a test upcoming tomorrow, and then I might have to reschedule and reprioritize my timing for it, and try to get their understanding of it. Usually they'll be very understanding because they were students in the past as well, and they understand that's the risk that they have to take when they're taking on part-time interns. And to follow up, to provide them with a timeline as well as a date that you will be following to make sure that you are able to meet the deliverables, and so that you don't cause them to have a bad impression of you in the long term. And the third one would be, what if I have back-to-back exams and I'm unable to work for the week? I think it's about having a very open conversation with your managers to let them know about the challenges that you're facing with studies. You let them know that you're having a back-to-back exam, and then how are you going to reprioritize your time and schedule so that you can still manage to have a healthy output of work, and at the same time you do well for your studies. So then try your best to either complete it ahead of time or let them know to reprioritize it after your exams and reschedule your timing once again. And that's all that I have for this video. If you find that it has been helpful for you so far, do drop this video a like, comment down below what you want to see next, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.